Hello there, and welcome to another Starfield video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 5 tips and tricks that you may or may not know about Starfield that are quite helpful. So let's get right into it. So tip number 1 is, it's happened quite a few times. Let's say you steal a vessel in the middle of nowhere, and you kind of come to the misfortune of being stuck. The ship you get has very limited fuel and you can't make a jump. So I've kind of replicated this situation here. I have a ship and it's only got 50 fuel. Now, if we were to try and fast travel, for instance, let me just show you. Let's say we wanted to fast travel to Narian. You'll notice that it's red. Now, in this situation, I could technically get to Narian by making multiple jumps, but when this usually happens, you can't really jump anywhere. You're stuck in system. So now there's a way to combat this. So basically all you want to do is, when you get the ship, make sure that the ship is like registered. So when you sit down in the seat first, you can like register the ship. And then once it's registered, you just want to basically hop out of the ship. And once you're out of the ship, you want to walk to the back. Just walk away from the cockpit basically. And then you bring up your map. And this time, regardless of how far away it is, you will be able to fast travel directly to the planet. Now, something to keep in mind with this is, depending on the ship you steal, like for instance, if you steal a pirate vessel and let's say you want to fast travel to New Atlantis, sometimes New Atlantis will be grayed out, and in this situation it's not, but if it is grayed out, it basically means that you can't fast travel there because there's contraband on your ship. So what I like to do is, every time I steal a ship and this sort of stuff happens, I just go to Parima and I go to Paradiso. So as you can see there, we can't make the jump to Parima, but if we go down to Paradiso and we just click on it like so, and we press X to land, once the loading screen pops up or finishes popping up, we should have been teleported to the surface of the planet. Usually.
I think I set up
There
an
we go.
outpost on a planet like this once.
This is just a really kind of simple way if you do get stranded in space and you don't want to have to go back to a previous save, like I said. Yeah. Let's jump on to tip number 2. Alright, so this next one is for any of you clean freaks out there, or people who just don't like the sight of a child walking over dead bodies. So let's say you've captured a ship and sadly there's a load of dead bodies and clutter and all this sort of stuff, and you kind of want to get rid of them. So there's a really easy way to get rid of them. So all you basically do is, we're going to go to the vendor. So we're just gonna show you all this real quick. So once the autosave happens, so you want to go to any of the ship vendors. The guys you can modify the ship. In my case, we're in Paradiso.
Got anything you need to offload?
And
Hey,
all you basically want to do is, you want to go and modify it and add a single piece to the vessel. I need to register this vessel first. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add a window or a structural piece. We're going to add, let me see, we need, there we go, it's snapping. What we're going to do is, we're going to just add where are the weaponry? Okay, yeah, perfect. So for this situation, I won't use a structure. I'm going to use you can use any piece. So I'm going to put a weapon up here. And once the weapon, more than 3 weapons. Okay, we won't put a weapon then. Just to make it easier. So I'm just going to delete this, and we're going to replace it with. So you place any sort of a structural piece on the ship at all. Any piece really, but structural is the easiest. Basically what we're going to do is, we're going to place this this porthole here. And then we're going to save, so the ship looks the way it is. And then we're going to basically remove that piece. So we're going to just remove that, like so. And then once we have removed that, when you go back to your ship, you'll find that your ship is now squeaky clean. So basically, replacing any piece cleans the ship. I'm just going to show you guys just to confirm. It's quite a handy thing, because early on when I used to do my ship reviews, I didn't like having to walk over bodies and stuff. And this is kind of like a lifesaver. So as you can see, no more bodies. All the clutter is gone.
If I can.
But yeah, that was tip number 2. Now on to tip number 3. Alright, so tip number 3 is about being able to transfer items to your ship without entering it. So we've all kind of had this situation. You're out exploring a planet and you're over encumbered and you want to like store stuff on your ship, but you don't want to have to go through the loading screen. Now you may not know this, but if you get close enough to your ship, you can actually transfer the items from the exterior of your vessel. So all you basically do is you press X, you go to your cargo hold, press LB, and let's say we're going to move these so we can just store all of them. And we will store that. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. Now there is a kind of a limit on like how close you can be. If you guys have kind of played No Man's Sky, it's kind of similar to No Man's Sky. Like if we're standing right here, we can still do it, which is kind of close. But the further away you get, basically, the more like difficult it is to do it. I'm just gonna see what the limit is. The limit's usually like a couple of 100 feet. Try one last time. Cargo hold. And okay, we still hit it. So now, obviously, you can't be too far away. You know, like right now we're like a couple 100 feet. But it's just something, it's handy to have just so you don't have to go through, especially if you have a large ship and you don't want to have to go through like several kind of like walking around. But anyway, that's tip number 3. On to tip number 4. Alright, so tip number 4 is some of you guys may not know this, but for those of you that don't, basically if you, let's say you're trying to hunt down a ship, which I have done many a time, and you're like looking at specific vendors, like this guy here.
I'm sure you can find.
And you're like looking and you're like, oh, he doesn't have the ship I want. Now there's a way you can reset the inventory of the vendor. So just to kind of make a note of that guy, the ships he had. Let me show you again.
I'm
Just
sure
real
you
quick.
can find something you like.
So the first ship he has there is the Starhawk. He's got 8 ships. Now, normally to reset like a normal vendor, you would just have to wait 24 to 48 hours on a planet. So like depending on the planet, it's like one rotation. Now, ship vendors are a little different because their time kind of varies. So what you want to do is, you basically want to go to Venus or Mercury. Either will work. I'll go Venus. And you basically just want to land anywhere on Venus. So we're going to land here.
Again.
Once you land, you're just going to run back inside your ship.
Hello.
You're going to board it.
Said.
And we're basically looking for anywhere we can sit and wait. So we're going to come in here, and there's a chair here. We're going to sit down, and we're going to wait 24 hours on the planet. So if we look at the wait time, something you'll notice is 24 hours on this planet equates to 2,400 hours. So we're just going to wait that time. So once you're done waiting, we're just going to fast travel back to the vendor. Alright, so here we are back at the vendor. And once we go to view his ships,
I'm sure you can.
you'll notice that his ship ship inventory has reset. So yeah, this is a pretty handy like trick if you're looking for specific vessels or you're just trying to reset a ship's vendor's inventory because you want to sell them stuff. This works with any of the vendors. So yeah, and then on to the final tip of the video. Alright, and finally, tip number 5. So this is quite a handy tip early on, or even late game, because of, occasionally it can be kind of tricky trying to manage your storage space, because you're limited on your ship. Well, I say limited, you can pretty much make huge ship storage, but... So yeah, so in the game, you can have houses in game, and while they can have storage is usually quite limited by the amount of space, with some of the crates or containers only having like a max storage space of maybe 100. But if you come to the lodge, which you get early on in the game, and you take a right, and you go down into the kind of the workstation area, there's a little safe here, a storage box. Now, if you go to transfer the storage box, you'll notice that the mass is unlimited, which, for instance, if I show you another storage, let me just look for another one real quick, like, for instance, this first aid kit you'll see is limited to a mass of 2. Well, this one isn't. So, as you can see, I've been, like, throwing some of my gear in here from early game. And it's pretty much a safe way to store stuff. Now, the only downside to this, as opposed to, like, say, storing stuff at an outpost or your ship, is if you store resources in here, you have to go and take them out to build, whereas if they were stored in your ship, any sort of workstation you access kind of uses your ship's inventory. But yeah, so just a handy little spot to, you know, if you want to store stuff. So that was 5 tips. Let me know in the comments if you guys knew of these tips. And if you know of other ones, let me know as well. Because there might be some I don't know. There's probably a lot I don't know, to be fair. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you like sort of content. And check out some other videos. Bye-bye.